I'd like to welcome you all to this happy and long-awaited occasion. I hope you've enjoyed the proceedings so far.
Yes.
I'd like to say a few words about Janie, who I'm sure you'll agree is looking very beautiful. Also about Andy, who Julie tells me is looking pretty okay. Janie was a lovely little girl, always happy, full of life, gentle and kind. And we've so many... we have so many memories of her growing up. I remember being there at her birth in Bahrain.
I remember it too.
It was
Well, we sort of hope so, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or was it a good night the night before?
Sorry.
It was a very moving first-time experience for me, and I'm sure all new fathers feel exactly the same. I remember when she first started to walk. We were on holiday at the time, and Janie couldn't wait to crawl to the pool, so she just got up and walked. We thought she was absolutely brilliant, even then, and it was a happy thing. I remember her at 5 years old, riding her first two-wheeler as fast as she could to the pool in Bahrain where we lived. Without any fear, she'd jump off the diving board, the springboard, and swim underwater like a fish. I'm sure you remember those times. In Australia, she swam for her school and won many competitions in and around Sydney. And she's still as strong and excellent. But as Janie once said, you have to love the smell of it. What can I say? She always worked hard at whatever she did and still does. And I think Andy will agree that pressing the off button is the only problem. As a teenager, she was a high achiever and she excelled at school. At university, she turned her attention to, well, other things. But I remember that first taste of freedom myself, and it was a good time. However, unlike me, Janie put the brakes on, just in time, got out the books, locked herself away, and graduated with a first-class honours degree in maths. No mean achievement, Janie.
We're all very impressed.
Very good. And I'd like to say how nice it is at this point that Sarah and Caroline, friends from university, are here. Anyway, Janie, I could go on saying many things about you, but above all, I want you to know that Mum and I are very proud of you. And we hope you'll go on to have a happy, fulfilling life with Andy, your lovely little daughter. As I said before, we've waited a long time for this.
Not the only one.
I'll go back to a Sunday morning in autumn 2005.
Indeed, we almost weren't here today. Some of you may know that after the rehearsal last night, Mum said it had all gone very smoothly, everyone was happy, and Mum said there's just one slight snag. Andrew Robert Sterling isn't his name. And the vicar said, what? He said, well, technically he was christened Robert Raven Andrew Sterling, but we've always called him Andrew. But the book had already been written out, ready for him to sign as Andrew Robert Sterling. And the banns had already been read. But we got round that. The true value of life. I was pretty hell-bent on building a business and, to some extent, maybe an empire. And in all fairness, she showed me, at a low ebb in my life, that there's a hell of a lot more to it than that. She picked me up, she helped me back on my feet, and she sent me in the right direction. I am the man I am today because of this woman.
fantastic joy that's been to our lives. I can't really explain to you, unless you've got kids of your own, what that means and how it's brought us together in a way that I could never have really imagined would happen until it did happen. Jane and I have what I think is a special relationship. Somebody once said to me, if you can get on 80% of the time and 20% of the time you fall out, that's pretty bloody good. Well, I'll tell you what, I can count on my hand the number of times Jane and I fell out in the last 8 years. And it lasts for about 10 minutes. Because we love each other more than we love ourselves. She is absolutely everything to me, and I believe, likewise, I am that to her. I'm a very, very lucky man. And I will stand by this woman till the end of my days.
Aww.